Hey friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm making a short video about owning and running the MG4. Now some of you will be watching this video because you're interested in buying it and considering it. Others may even own the MG. Whatever your thoughts, let me know in the comments below. I always welcome some input, whether you think I'm right or I'm wrong. But anyway, over the next 5 or 10 minutes, hopefully I'll be able to entertain you and you'll enjoy what I'm doing.
First of all, we look at the good bits. First of all, the app. Now in the advertising blurb, MG promise a wonderful experience being able to schedule charging, turn on your heating or cooling, your heated seats, these sort of things. But in reality, even after 6 months, I can't properly connect to the car. I've never been able to see the battery level. Sometimes I can unlock the car, but I can't turn on the air conditioning. And it has this habit of telling me the car is always at the European Commission in Belgium, which is actually quite a long way to walk then if I want to get into my car. Every time you try and unlock it, you get a warning that either the brakes are not working or the steering isn't working. And again, the car has mysteriously moved to the European Commission. So back to the good bits, part 2. The performance and the handling. Now most electric cars have a very low centre of gravity thanks to the way they're built, with the battery pack in the floor of the car and the motor, in my case, at the rear, or even 2 motors, one at the front, one in the rear, as you find in the X-Power. My car came equipped standard with Continental Contact 215 by 50 17-inch extra load tyres. Now I found these really good and they're very consistent whether it's wet or dry or extremely wet. I think the extra weight of the car helps keep the tyres in good contact with the road. And straight line performance is more than adequate, although I guess these days you'd probably go for the X-Power if you wanted the ultimate performance.
Just take your time. %. I can put it in drive. I've got the bikes on the back, so I'm thinking obstacle very close.
The 1st of January 2019, 11:18 a.m. partly sunny, 14.4 degrees Celsius in Roncaglia, Please pay attention to driving safely.
Okay, it's the 22nd of October. So, now Google Maps is giving a good representation. And pretty much, whilst it's plugged in, it works pretty good with real time, but here we have a problem. So I'm coming to a roundabout, imagine. I want to indicate left, and my map disappears. I can switch the camera back on, and it just keeps coming back. So this is the driver's display. You can see it's just behind the wheel. I'll just run you through a couple of things. So on the left hand side, you can move between tyre pressures, which show in kilopascals. So easy enough to work out. Just 2.4 bar at the moment. And then from the last charge, or you go up and down from start, so I went out for 11 minutes, you can see from there, and then the total. Navigation, and then we come to the settings. So brightness level, you can actually, using the right thumb wheel, change the brightness from bright to slightly less bright. It's still too bright, so the control isn't very good. But also in this menu, let's come out of that one, so radio entertainment. Now if you can see at the bottom, see if I can zoom in a little bit, there's this tiny indicator which actually says percentage of power. And when you are regeneratively braking, it comes up with a figure, goes up to -25. So this is the way you can try and drive more economically. But it's so small, it's almost completely pointless. So you have the mode you're in at the bottom there, normal. And I've set the programmer button here, so I can actually press that button. One press gives you sport, if you want to have a bit more power. And then you can just go through the different modes, which saves you going on to the main screen. Speed's in the middle. Above that is the speed limit, which isn't very accurate. It changes every few seconds. A lot of people turn that off. The left side there, you've got the indication where you are on the road. You will be able to see other cars and lorries on there and things. And when you're using the autopilot function, which is MG Pilot, it will. Oh, we have somebody's interested. But yeah, my main problem with this display is you can't customize it. I'd like the speed to be bigger. I'd certainly like the regen at the bottom to be big enough to be able to see. You can see we're in park. If I put my foot on the brake, so the system's ready, and that will change to D for drive or reversing, in which case the camera comes up. I can see even more cats are surrounding. I think they're getting hungry. So anyway, there you go.
So, after almost 6 months of ownership of the MG4, would I buy the car again? Probably not. I had the car 2 days and it had to go back to the dealer to have a software update. The car wasn't able to be used for almost 2 months before I got the car back. If you've not seen the video, I'll put a link in the description below. But when I got the car back, I used it. I drove thousands of miles in it, and it's a nice car. But I can't forgive the fact that the software doesn't work properly. The app doesn't work still. MG doesn't seem to be worried about making things right. They sell you a car and it's good value, but then they're not interested in fixing any problems. And any fixes that do come, you have to take the car back to the dealer. But would I recommend the MG4 to anybody else? Surprisingly, maybe yes. It depends on what you want. If you're a person that only commutes and can charge the car at home most of the time, does 1 or 2 long journeys a year, then it's fine. But if you're considering the extended range, then I'd say definitely not. The Tesla Model 3 standard range, or I think it's just called the Tesla Model 3 now, is only around £3,500 more expensive in the UK. Whereas the standard edition MG4 comes in at under £30,000 and it is good value for money. The extended range is about £36,000. I'll put the figures up as a screenshot so you can consider the two. But the main difference is the charging network. If you're in a Tesla, you know what you're getting. You stop at a Tesla charger, you plug in, and it works. When you're driving something else, whether it's a Porsche, a Kia, or the MG, you come to a station, you're not sure it's going to work, or you may have to queue. So it's a different experience. I recently watched an excellent video on YouTube from What Car magazine. They compared the MG4 extended range with the Tesla Model 3, driving them from London to Land's End and back. The results were quite outstanding. I'll put screenshots up again in this video so you can compare. But the main difference is, if you're doing long journeys, when you have a Tesla, the charging experience is seamless. The car tells you where to stop. It tells you when you need to stop if you're using more range. Whereas with anything else, whether it's a Porsche, a Kia or an MG, you're not sure exactly where you can stop, how many stalls will be available. It's a completely different experience. So for the time being, I'm just going to enjoy driving my MG. I'm going to make some more videos, my experiences on these long trips and how I plan and how I found the best way of doing these things. Because there's a lot of people now buying their first electric car and it's not that easy. But with a little bit of planning, it can be made much more simple. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I look forward to seeing you again in the next one. In the meantime, goodbye.